Shalom. Our Torah portion this week is Vayeira. And in this portion, we have two stories that are very interesting on their own, but are even more interesting when we juxtapose them to each other. At the beginning of this Seder, God sends three angels to Abraham to announce that Isaac will be born within a year. And of course, Abraham and Sarah had been waiting for the birth of a son for so many years. This was joyous news to them. But these three angels also announced to Abraham that God intended to destroy the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah because they were so evil. What Abraham does is argue with God, or at least negotiate with God, over the destruction of these two cities. And he says to God, he says, if I can find 50 righteous men in that city, would you destroy the city? Would you destroy the city, the innocent, along with the wicked? Far be it from you, God. You're the God of justice. You're a just God. Why would you destroy those 50 along with the evil people in that city? And God says, well, if there are 50 righteous people, I will spare the city. And Abraham very politely says, I am but earth, and I am but dust and ashes. Bear with me. What if there are 45 righteous people? God said, for 45 I won't destroy the city. And Abraham continues to negotiate with God all the way down to 10. If there are 10 righteous people, Lord, will you destroy the city? And God says, no. If there are 10 righteous people, I will spare the city. Now later on in the Seder, after the birth of Isaac, and Isaac is grown up, he's a young man now, God commands Abraham to take Isaac to Mount Moriah and to sacrifice him there. And what's so striking is Abraham agrees to this very stark, this very disturbing command by God. Doesn't say anything to God. He doesn't say something like, Lord, what has my son done that you would require me to sacrifice him? And he goes along right up to the last moment in this process of binding Isaac, taking him up to the mountain, until God blinks. God sends an angel saying to Abraham, do not lay your hand upon the boy. And Isaac, of course, is spared. And this leaves one wondering, why would Abraham speak to God on behalf of strangers, on behalf of these wicked cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, and not speak on behalf of his own son? The rabbis of old praised Abraham, saying that he was a greater man than Noah, because Noah did not argue with God when God declared that he was going to destroy the world. Abraham, the rabbis tell us, was a greater man because he went to bat for the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. He said there might be some righteous people. But at the end of this week's Torah portion, we see Abraham just silently going along with God. I wonder if God was testing Abraham in this way. This is described as God testing Abraham, one of Abraham's trials. And maybe part of the test was that he was supposed to argue with God. In a robust, in a vital relationship with God, we are allowed to ask questions. We are allowed to ask questions to bring our desires and our concerns to God. Certainly he must have been concerned over this command to sacrifice his son, but he didn't raise up his voice. I wonder whether Abraham in this instance actually failed this test. One proof of this is that God never speaks to him again. He had a robust and a lively relationship with God, but that seems to have abated after the incident regarding the binding of Isaac. Well, I hope that you will read this week's Torah portion and come to your own conclusion. Shabbat Shalom.